AI just entered the bedroom, and it's smarter, more personalized, and more controversial than anything that's come before it. I have to start with a question. When was the last time you thought about AI and your sex life in the same sentence? Maybe never, maybe all the time. Either way, welcome, because today we're going there. We're talking about artificial intelligence, sex toys that basically have a brain, virtual reality experiences designed to stimulate intimacy, and the very real question of what all this means for people like us, people over 50 navigating desire, relationships, and our bodies in a whole new world. Welcome back to Taboo to Truth, the podcast where we pull back the curtain on sex, relationships, desire, and all the messy, beautiful, complicated parts of being alive and human after 50. I'm Karen Bigman, Midlife, relationship and intimacy expert for men. AI is no longer just about ChatGPT writing your emails or Netflix knowing what you want to watch or where the true crime is at 11. AI is inside our bedrooms, literally. And before you clutch your pearls, I want you to stay curious with me, because this conversation is not about replacing human connection. It's about understanding a world that is already happening, whether you're paying attention or not. So let me give you a quick lay of the land. When we talk about AI in the context of sex and relationships, we are really talking about a few different categories. First, AI-powered sex toys and wearables, devices that use sensors, machine learning, and sometimes even app connectivity to personalize pleasure. Second, companion AI and chatbots, virtual relationships, and emotional connection. And third, virtual reality and augmented reality experiences designed for intimacy. And fourth, AI in a relationship, coaching, therapy, sexual health support. There is a smart sex toy revolution, and if you haven't heard it yet, you're about to have a moment. Vibrators and pleasure devices have existed for a long time. The new generation are not just on-off. They're not just 10 speeds. These devices are collecting biometric data. They're syncing to apps. Some are learning your body's responses over time and adjusting stimulation accordingly. We are talking about AI feedback loops inside a device that fits in your nightstand drawer or in your vagina. One of the most talked about is a company called Lioness. They make a vibrator for women with biofeedback technology. It literally tracks your physiological arousal, muscle contractions, movement patterns, and maps it to an app so you can see your own pleasure response visually. I want to point something out for my midlife audience. Now, menopause changes arousal. Genitourinary syndrome of menopause can affect sensitivity, lubrication, and how long it takes to respond. And for a lot of women, this is a silent grief. They don't know a way back. But biofeedback technology can actually help you understand what your body is doing so you can compare it to what it used to do. That's quite powerful. FirmTech makes a men's version. The Tech Ring measures nighttime erections to determine penile health. Your penis is a barometer of your overall health, so another great tool to help you. Then you have brands like WeVibe and Tracy's Dog that have been in the app-connected space for a while. These allow partners to control devices remotely, which is incredible for long-distance couples. But the newer iterations are incorporating AI that goes beyond remote control. We're seeing devices that analyze your patterns, remember your preferences, and adapt in real time. Now, some of that raises data privacy questions, and we should be asking those. If your vibrator is collecting your biometric data, where is it going and who owns it? This is a very real question about consent and data security. I'm curious, have you tried an AI sex toy? Comment below if you have and tell us about your experience. Now let's talk about the technology that makes all of this possible. I want you to understand the mechanics because the how makes the why matter so much clearer. The big word you need to know is haptics. Haptic technology is essentially technology that recreates the sense of touch using vibrations, pressure, and motion. Think about your phone buzzing in your hand. That's a basic haptic experience. Now scale that up, add machine learning, and you have devices that can simulate a range of physical sensations with incredible precision. There are also stroker devices for people with penises that use AI to sync with video content or with a partner's device in real time. Companies like Kiru have products where both partners wear or hold sync devices, and their movements are mirrored in real time over the internet. This is called Teledildonics. Teledildonics has been a concept since the 1970s, but it's only now becoming genuinely sophisticated. Well, why does this matter for us in midlife? Physical distance is real. A lot of us are in long-distance relationships, snowbirds, adult children living elsewhere, partners who travel for work, or people who met online and are navigating geography. These technologies offer something that was never possible before: physical intimacy across distance. And for couples dealing with mobility issues, chronic pain, post-surgical recovery, devices that adapt to your body's responses and don't require a certain posture or stamina, that is great for accessibility. All right, the next one is going to make you a little uncomfortable. There are now apps where people build relationships with AI chatbots, and I mean relationships, emotional intimacy, daily conversations, expressions of care. Some users report that their AI companion helped them through loneliness, grief, and anxiety. Some use the apps for companion after loss. Some use them to practice social skills or to feel less isolated. Esther Perel recently did an episode where she coached a man and his AI girlfriend. And then there are platforms that allow sexual or romantic interaction with an AI persona. Some are text-based, some use voice, some use generated imagery. Tracy's dog is using a new adaptive AI with their Beta and Drill Me and the AFI product. That's the technology that they're using to create an avatar. It's advancing so fast that clearly artificial and disturbingly lifelike is blurring. Here is where I, as a sexuality educator, have a nuanced take. I'm not here to shame anyone who uses these tools. Loneliness is a public health crisis. Social isolation in midlife and beyond is real, and if someone is using an AI companion to feel less alone while they're also working on building communication and connection, I'm not here to judge that. But, and this is a big but, we need to be honest about what these tools cannot provide. They cannot provide genuine reciprocity. They cannot love you back in any meaningful sense. They cannot grow and change with you over time. A relationship requires two people who can surprise each other, disappoint each other, and choose each other. AI can only choose you. They can't not choose you. The goal is always to move toward human connection, not to replace it. Technology should be a bridge, not a destination. There's also an emerging conversation in the therapeutic community about AI and sexual trauma. Some researchers are exploring whether AI-based interactions in a therapeutic context could help trauma survivors safely explore intimacy at their own pace without the fear of judgment or pressure. This isn't mainstream yet, but it's being studied, and I find it genuinely fascinating and worth watching. Comment below if you agree that AI can be used and should be used in a therapeutic context. Now let's go to virtual reality. VR headsets have been around for a few years. You may have tried one at a tech store or seen one of your kids or grandchildren wearing one, but VR for intimacy and sexuality is its own rapidly expanding industry. We're talking immersive video content, virtual environments combined with haptic suits and wearable technology. Experiences that engage multiple senses simultaneously. It actually can feel like you're having sex with a real person. These are companies developing VR experiences specifically for couples therapy and intimacy building. Imagine putting on a headset and being guided through a shared sensory experience with a partner or your partner, one designed to rebuild closeness or open communication about desire. These actually exist in pilot form. There's also therapeutic VR for sexual dysfunction. Body image issues and shame about aging bodies are enormous barriers to sexual expression after 50. VR environments are being studied as a way to help people reconnect with embodied pleasure without the self-consciousness that can derail real-world intimacy. In a VR environment, you can experience sensation without looking at your reflection. You can be present in your body without watching your body. For people who really struggle with body shame, this has genuine potential. There's also explicit VR content, immersive adult entertainment, as I mentioned before. This is a place that I just want to gently flag that VR adult content is extraordinarily immersive, and the brain processes VR differently than flat screen media. There's growing research suggesting that the immersive quality of VR can intensify compulsive patterns in ways that regular screen content may not. This doesn't mean VR is inherently harmful, but it does mean that if you notice your relationship with any digital content, VR or otherwise, starting to interfere with real intimacy, real desire, real connection, that's worth paying attention to and worth talking to a professional about without shame. I want to close this part of the episode with what I think are the most important questions, the ones that we don't talk about enough. What does all of this do to our capacity for human intimacy? There's a real concern among researchers and clinicians that as AI-powered experiences become more seamless and frictionless, the effort of real human connection, the awkwardness, the vulnerability, the risk, starts to feel less worth it. Real intimacy is not frictionless. Real intimacy requires us to show up imperfectly and keep showing up anyway. For the frictionless version, do we lose our tolerance for the messy, beautiful, necessary version? I don't really have an answer, but I do think it's a question worth asking. Number 2, who is this technology built for? Right now, the majority of AI intimacy technology has been designed by and for a certain demographic, largely younger, largely male, largely able-bodied. The needs of people in midlife, people with disabilities, people with chronic illnesses, they're not centered in most of this technology, and they should be. I'm hopeful that as these industries mature, more inclusive design will follow. And question 3, data, consent, and privacy. If a device is collecting your biometric arousal data, you deserve to know exactly what happens to that data. You must have opt-in and consent. And you deserve the ability to delete it. That's not being paranoid. This is basic digital rights. Read the terms of service. Really read them. And the final question, the one I come back to in everything I do, how does this serve connection? Not just pleasure, not just novelty, not just convenience, true connection to yourself, to your body, to your partner, to life. That is always the North Star. If a technology serves that, if it helps you know your body better, communicate with a partner more openly, access pleasure you'd lost touch with, or feel less alone in your experience, and it's worth exploring. But if it pulls you away from connection, from presence, from the courageous work of being in a relationship with another human being, then you might want to question it. All right, that was one of my longer episodes, and I hope your brain is buzzing in the best possible way. Here's what I'd love for you to take away. AI is not coming for your love life, but it's already in your world, and you deserve to be informed. You need to be an empowered participant and how it shows up, whether you're curious about biofeedback device, wondering about VR, or just trying to figure out what the hell your grandkid is talking about when they mention their AI best friend. You now have a little more context. As always, none of this is taboo. This is truth, this is your life, and you are allowed to be curious about all of it. If this episode sparked something for you, I'd love to hear about it. Leave a review, share it with a friend, especially one who needs permission to be curious. You can find me at Taboo to Truth on Substack, on YouTube, and if you're ready to go deeper, check out Hotter, Wiser, Wilder and the Midlife Desire Shift. Links are in the show notes.